We made the decision. In fact, we transformed ourselves into the UP Law Liberation Forces.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. This is Judge Princess Ongkieko, RTC Judge at Santa Cruz, Laguna. This is our EDSA Revolution UP Law Liberation Forces episode. It's a reunion practically of all the people were at my house. So tell us a little about yourselves. First, we go with the president of the Law Student Government at that time, Attorney Gao Pronove. Introduce yourself, Gao.
Hi, I'm Gal Pranove. I was the president of the Law Student Government in 1986.
Thank you. Eric, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Eric Malyonga. I was a member of the Society of Law Students during my time at UP College of Law.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank
Maricar,
you.
introduce yourself, please.
I am Maricar Sugayan. So I belong to class of 87. I was third year at the UP College of Law when EDSA Revolution occurred. Yon.
All right. Joel, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joel Nunez. I was a classmate of Gao, Eric, and Gigi and Nedo during EDSA 1986, and I was at Judge Princess's house the night before the Marcoses fled.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Gigi.
As mentioned by my classmates, I'm a member of UP Law class of 1986. And of course, that would mean that we were the most invested in participating and joining EDSA Revolution of 1986.
Nedo.
Hi, I'm Nedo Sasing. I'm also a member of Class 86 of UP College of Law.
That night that Cardinal Sin called for us to participate and protect the insurgents, the military insurgents. Well, a lot of us started communicating with one another, and we started going to EDSA on the same night that there was a call for the protection of the military rebels. And yeah, we started organizing, and
Yeah,
so
you
it was an exciting time. It was a turbulent time. It was a time of idealism. It was a time of drunkenness. You know, I think the only reason we got drunk is because we didn't know whether we would live during the time, because death was almost certain.
My landlord then told me, oh, there's a call for from UP Law for you to gather at Malcolm Hall and then go to EDSA. So at first I didn't believe him until I forgot kung anong radio station yon. Tapos nakita ko talaga it was broadcasted. So yung first day nandun ako sa EDSA. Tapos I remember, Judge, can I quote yung because syempre probinsyana ako, tapos parang when you go to EDSA, it was a turbulent time, di ba? So a bit of background sa batch ko, since I'm the only one from class 83. We graduated from class 87. So yung namin, when you said very turbulent yung times nyo sa UP, I also affirmed that for my batch, because remember, we entered UP College of Law 83. That was the year that Ninoy died. So andun kami nung first year. So very turbulent years from 83 to 86. So maraming rally. So before deciding to go to EDSA, my parents were in Pangasinan. I was the only one living in the boarding house. Talagang inisip ko na syempre hindi sigurado kung mabubuhay ka or mamamatay ka, di ba? Tapos I'm not a particularly religious person, pero tiningnan ko sa ano, ito yung parang what swept through my mind when I decided to go to EDSA. It's a quote from the Bible. I'm quoting now. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. Parang I think that's from Matthew 16:25. So parang sapalaran mo talaga yung buhay mo kasi you'll never know what will happen.
Gigi, you, what
Galing,
about
galing.
you?
Yes, siguro like the others, my first engagement really for EDSA, People Power Revolution, was really a meeting that was held in the UP College of Law. And Gao, who was president of the UP LSG, presided over that meeting. It was a meeting to decide on what we would do as as students of the UP College of Law. So sabi namin, parang we're not supposed to be just sitting around. We should participate. We should make sure that we engage in this activity because parang everybody is there. Sabi namin, parang the decision at the time was we should not be left out of a moment in our history. So I think that was more the decision that we were taking rather than, I think, Eric's version, which was more beer drinking and partying, no? So I think
That
that
was
was
after.
it just happened.
After Marcos left
But it
already.
just happened. But it was really a decision of whether we would stay and continue with our studies. Remember, 1986, we were the graduating class. And our concern really was, were we still going to graduate if we went to EDSA? And so our main concern was we needed to finish. We needed to graduate because we were already about ready. We had already began our applications for the bar examinations for November of that year. So those were our concerns. Should we stay? Should we finish our lessons? Should we have our examinations, etc.? And I think the consensus was we should be in EDSA. And it was more important for us to be in EDSA than for us to think about our personal interests. No? So the interest of the Philippines, the Filipino people, and ourselves being part of that should be primordial. So yes, we did decide on that upon prodding, of course, of our president.
All right, Gao, back to you. Can you tell us more about your EDSA experience?
Okay, well, it's a collage, no? Ang EDSA was like a collage. Actually, I was giving it some thought last night. Ang same feeling when I first found out, parang when I found out about martial law in 1972. I was in school, I think I was grade 5, and I was in the park, and biglang everything was still. Nothing. Quiet lahat. Walang bus, walang kotse, walang tao. And it was like the world had stopped. And I think that was the same feeling we had when we were in the LSG room and we were told the call of Ramos and Enrile then was to form a human barricade around them to protect them. So for us, of course, this is very political. Part of the group saying, why are we going to protect Ramos and Enrile? These are part of the Marcos camp. They were the ones they were the architects and implementers of martial law that lasted in the country for 21 years. Why are we going to protect them? On the other hand, there was, Ninoy had died in 1983. As Maricar said, 83 was already, the country was in turmoil. Everything was short. There were no, supplies were scarce. The economy was dead. And so in 86, by that time, si Cory had already climbed to the national stage. There was also this clamor to participate. And remember, the left and the right had different positions on the snap election because really there was a snap election. That was the context for EDSA.
Yes.
There was a
yes.
snap election, and Marcos was going to declare himself president again. And there was this consensus that no, he lost, and therefore there should be another administration. And then that's when Ramos and Enrile formed their coup. I mean, these are the general things of the time. And so we decided to participate. And so some with heavy hearts, some with doubts, we all went to EDSA. And I think the spirit of EDSA all brought us to a different level. You know, when you see your fellow citizens helping each other, cooperating, being nice to each other, being honest, being transparent, and being patriotic, you lift up also with that.
Did you actually tell the law student government to go with you?
Yes, we made the decision. In fact, we transformed ourselves into the UP Law Liberation Forces.
Yeah.
Partly
And I
in
was
jest.
Commander Princess, remember?
Correct.
And you were
correct.
Commander Gao. So
I was, field
the-
commandant.
yeah, field commander. So sayang wala kasama din natin sila Sal Marasul. Oh, yes, Joel, come on.
Gao, maybe you'd like to share with everybody your remember what the part of your story when we met at the College of Law about Balane, what we heard from the teachers, what you heard from the teachers, pala.
Please remind me.
You
What
said
was
that Balane, because you consulted the teachers if we should go to EDSA or stay on, do our classes because we were taking the bar. We needed to complete the semester. And then you said that Balane was one of the professors who said, no, you have to continue with the classes. And there were different points of view. One point of view being he's not sympathetic to the cause. The other point of view being he just wanted to make sure that we would be able to take the bar that year.
Yes, yes. I mean, I think the teachers, our professors at that time, had of course, they wanted to be parents to us, right? So our safety, concern. But on the other hand, what's the point of doing all of this if the country is left with nothing? It was a turning point for our country. I think that's how many of us felt. And so, against their advice, we did go to, and we called all our classmates and all our fellow students to go to EDSA. One thing that I wanted to point out was that Gringo showed up along Santolan on the Krame side the first evening, and we met with him, and he was the one who said, "Okay, you guys are from the UP Law College of Law. Can you secure Santolan?" And so that became our mission, was to organize, help people secure Santolan, because that was a weak link. You could enter from the back, from White Plains and from Ortigas Avenue. You could surround the camp, and then Santolan was the other side. So we were told to populate Santolan at all times because it's a small road. It's not like EDSA na malaki, di ba? Na boulevard siya, na kasya lahat. So that's where the UP Liberation Forces also came. So, pag medyo kala mo mamamatay ka na, gumagawa ka na yun ng jokes, di ba? Typical Pinoy, gumawa tayo ng jokes, make it light, make it more bearable, make it more livable. So tayo, we transformed ourselves into the UP Law Liberation Forces. And at the end of it, we gave out certificates of survival.
Yeah, I still have mine. Who
Yeah,
still has
so
your
some people
certificate
have,
of
yeah,
survival?
oh.
I don't have one. You should reissue.
Yeah, that's a
Eric,
demand.
what do
We
you
should be
remember?
reissued.
More memories. Come
Eric.
on.
Oh yeah, I was there at that meeting that Joel Nunez was referring to, where the faculty room was crowded, and Professor Ruben Balane was quite concerned about our studies more than anything else. So we don't attribute it to a desire of his not to join the EDSA revolution. It was more of concern because Professor Ruben Balane is this fatherly person who has become the godfather or ninong to a lot of us in batch 86. And it was the room was crowded, and Dean Bartolome Carale was presiding over the whole meeting when Professor Salvador Carlota, who became the dean later on, explained that these are indeed turbulent times where social change was necessary, and that he supports the whole student government commandeered by the General Commandant Gao Pronove. So he was saying that it was necessary for us to make a stand and that we were making a stand and the faculty should be in full support behind us. So that was a great speech made by Professor Salvador Carlota. I think all these should be remembered. And I think that not only should certificates or survivorship be reissued by the Grand Commandant Gao Pronove, but certificates of recognition of the heroism of a lot of the professors who participated in making their stand known that they were in full support of the EDSA revolution.
Gigi, your turn.
Gao and Eric and Joel reminding us all of the things that were happening during that time, no? Yung back and forth decision making on whether the UP College of Law should join. Now, it would seem that this is a large contingency, but when you think about it, the College of Law contingency was not a very big group of people, no? At most, probably the entire UP College of Law, including our faculty, would be something more or less 500. If correct me if I am wrong, but that is the entire population of the UP College of Law at that time, and that is a very liberal estimate, no? So not everyone, of course, joined, and of course there were others who joined but did not really join that contingency. Dedo was telling us they joined a different group, but we were all there. So this was a small group. So tama si Gao when he says that there was a lot of not only decision making, there's a lot of anxiety involved. I do remember Professor Balane. Eric was saying something that his objection was really concerned about us finishing our studies and for us to be able to take the bar that same year in November. And I remember that was February 25. On February 26, I remember Prof. Balame was already calling us, come back to the college, you will take your final examinations. So he was getting ready. I think at the time, he was our teacher in civil law review.
Civil law review.
So, sabi niya, balik na kayo sa college, mag-exam na kayo, you can still make it and take the bar as scheduled.
It's good that somebody brought back the meeting with the faculty, because I have a distinct memory of attending that meeting. I distinctly remember that it was the room, if you're facing the office of the College of Sec, ito yung nasa kanan. Tapos, I don't remember Professor Balane, maybe because he wasn't my professor at any time.
He was
Pero
one
what
of the
I
best.
of course. In that meeting, what I distinctly remember was the presence of my late professor, Jose Laureta. He was my professor in legal ethics. Do you remember that he said he actually proposed that the name of Ferdinand Marcos Sr. be expunged from the university registrar? So that's what I distinctly remember. And when he said that, a lot of us clap our hands. So I think eventually it wasn't carried out kasi I don't think it's one of the grounds for expunging the name of a graduate of the University of the Philippines. Pero I distinctly remember that because we all clapped and agreed with him. Tapos, if I remember correctly, the administration, the UP Law, I think eventually left it to the individual professor or instructor what to do about attendance and all that. And I remember that si Professor Deng Cordero Tan, ang assignment niya nun sa amin is to read 40 pages of that makapal na book, Campus and Campus, a day. So, no need to attend. So, basta lang magbasa daw kami ng 40 pages ng corporate law.